Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rainy Toon Talk. And tonight we join us as Keith Graydon. Everyone knows him as Rasha. Rasha, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. Really appreciate your time.
No problem.
A bit of a sore voice. You've just been chatting there about the Newcastle Man City game. Mixed emotions as we went through the 90 minutes. So we'll try our best tonight, but we'll get through it. But lots to go over. As I was saying to a few people, if you're coming on, I always watched Durham City around the time that you were there. So quite a hero myself at that point. But a lot of early days before we get to the city memories. Just coming out the early days, and you remember the home farm youth system coming up to Sunderland. How did that all come about?
I was playing in a competition in Ireland called the Kennedy Cup. It's all your representatives of the counties. So we got selected for our Dublin District County. Played in that tournament, and there was loads of scouts there. There was Pop Robson was come over from Sunderland. But funny enough, George Cook, the kit man, was with him, and he's the one that actually spotted me and got me across over to Sunderland trial. Believe it or not.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, like you say, you do come over to Sunderland, but at that age, it's always great to build up the experience, and you go to York City on loan. I mean, how crucial is that to development as a youth player?
Oh, it was massive. To be fair, youth football is not very physical or anything like that. So I went out to York on loan. They were in the playoff places at the time. They had getting about 2,500, 3,000 people at games compared to playing in the youths. So it was a massive difference playing in the academy. Michael Ingham was there on loan from Sunderland as well at the time, so we used to travel up and down. But going into the men's game was a total different game of football to the academy.
Yeah, it's like you watch the under-23 games now, and it's very weak compared, like you say, the men's football back then. It's even like the reserve football, even back then, it was quite a lot of full of first-team players come back from injuries. So I think it's crucial with the obviously development of the game. And coming through, obviously, when you come back to Sunderland, and unfortunately, obviously, you get released in 2003, and we've had a lot of players that's been on, and we spoke to Tom last week, and after the show, and he said he was really surprised at that time that you actually let go, and he says you should have been professional all day. And most one of the things that he said last week, I mean, was it hard leaving Sunderland at that point?
Yeah, it's always hard to get and let go. It took me about 6 months to get it into my head what was going to go on, because obviously when you're playing football from a young age, you just think you're just going to keep playing and playing and playing. So to get released, it was a nightmare, really. I ended up going from there, I think, down to Scarborough. I was going to Carlisle to sign a deal at Carlisle.
Right.
3-year contract with Roddy Collins. I was driving up to Carlisle at the time, and then I went on Sky Sports breaking news that he got the sack, and I was halfway up the road. So that cut it off. I ended up going back to Ireland. I was training with Dundalk, and then I couldn't settle back in. I was homesick for England, believe it or not. So I ended up moving back over and going down to Scarborough for a year, which I didn't play much, and then that's when I went into the non-league scene.
Yeah, I mean, just coming towards the end of Sunderland, I mean, was there any chance of getting pushed into the first team, training with the first team at that point?
So I done quite well when I went out on loan. I was out on loan for about 2 months. I think it was similar to the time when Sunderland were doing really, really bad, near the bottom of the league. So I thought when I got recalled on loan in January, I think it was, I thought I might have got a chance towards the end of the season. It wasn't a case. I got recalled and got told that I was getting let go for the last 6 months of my contract. So it was a bitter pill to swallow, to be fair, but that's football, really.
Yeah, I mean, just like you mentioned before, it took you kind of the 6 months to come over that, and we've had a few players from the Newcastle forward players who got released from the youth academy, and a couple of players that really took it hard. I mean, we mentioned one player that almost took his life because all he had was football. That's all he knew, and the step from playing football day in day out to trying to find a job, no qualifications, it must be so hard for some youth players. I know there's a lot more coming into the game now, hasn't it, to help that?
Yeah, there is more help now, but back then it was tough, to be fair. That's what helped me, I think, as well, was going into the non-league. So when I went to Durham City, Durham helped me get a job. For one of the sponsors gave me a job, and then he let me work me football around work, so I wasn't missing games and stuff like that. So it was quite handy to have. Otherwise, I probably would have been a bit more lost, to be honest.
Definitely. I mean, like you say, you touch on Scarborough there, 2003, the football conference, still a good level as well, and Blythe Spartans, Spennymoor United, Washington and Dunstan. I mean, at that point, was it just kind of moving around trying to find the club for yourself, or was it just all about building experience for the next level?
It was tough, to be fair. I went to Spennymoor. They had a lot of problems behind the scenes at Spennymoor and stuff like that. I was trying to find a team that played the football that I like to play.
Yeah,
The Northern League was it's like 100 miles an hour back then. It was quite physical, quite quick. So I was trying to find a team that actually suited where I played, which took a while, but I think we found that at Durham City.
yeah. And I think you went obviously after that, not just to Gateshead in the Northern Premier League and doing really well that season. I know we spoke to a few Gateshead fans about that. Did you enjoy your time at Gateshead?
Yeah, I loved it. I think it was Colin Richardson brought us in. They were struggling, I think, at the time. And me and my friend Adam Johnson went in. I think we had about 10
Oh
12
yes,
games.
yeah,
Gary Pearson come in, Leon Ryan. We started to get a good side together. We pulled away from the relegation, and then pre-season Colin got let go from the club, and then it sort of went a bit pear-shaped from there on. But Gateshead was fantastic. It was great setup. Really good people there. There was Derek Bell on that as a chairman and stuff like that. They were really good footballing people. I enjoyed it.
yeah. And I think it's kind of from that Gateshead time. I mean, from between 2006, 2009, you played for Durham, RCA, Jarrah, Newcastle Blue Star as well. And I think obviously being skipper of a few of them clubs, I think at that point then you was really starting to make a name for yourself. Was a lot of chat around the non-league zone at that time.
Yeah, to be fair, at Durham City we had a fantastic team. To be fair, we had some great players. It's probably one of the best sides we played in. It's just a shame to see where they're at now to where we were back then. I think we won back-to-back promotions, which they hadn't won the league in 20 years. But the fans and the lads that we had on the team was fantastic. We had some good days away and stuff like that. We had an unbelievable team, strikers, probably four of the best strikers in the North East at the time. So
Easy, yeah.
it was an unbelievable side. It was easy to play in, to be honest. And you didn't realise how good the lads were that were playing next to you until you went and played somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean that's the next point is like the Durham side around that 2009, and I mean I'm a massive Newcastle fan, but at that point when Newcastle were playing away, I was always coming down to watch Durham, and there came a point where I was actually coming to watch Durham City at the time because I think Ashley was at that point, and I kind of just fell in love with the club, and I was there pretty much 2 or 3 seasons at that point, and I could always remember it was always a small squad, but it was just so talented. It must have just felt confident going out on that pitch and think that you would win every single game.
It's different to what it is now. I think back then we had probably 17 players, 18 players maximum.
Yeah,
Squads are a lot bigger in different teams then, but we had probably 17 or 18 players that if anybody stepped out, the next person that went in was you just like carried on the way it was. And I think that's what brought us all together. We had unbelievable atmosphere and crack between all the lads. We all got on really well. We still keep in touch now. We had a get together there last year. So we all
right.
met up in Durham and had a day out on the drink and stuff like that. And we are just talking about the different stories from back when we were playing and all. It was really good side and really good lads to be involved with, to be honest.
Oh, but I mean, like you say, I know it was so. I mean, 2009, quite a while ago now. But I was just sitting the other night when I was trying to do a lot of plans for the show, and even off the top of my head, then I had like you say, Turns, like Lawsy, Dicker, Hara, Rasha, obviously yourself, Kappa. I mean, the left-hand side, Kappa in English. Well, that was just unbelievable.
Yeah, really
Down
good.
there, yourself and Dudsy in the middle, yeah. And then I mean, you say the
Lewis
strikers were
Dodds,
scary.
we brought Tofty in, and then you had Matty Moffat, Speedy, Adam Johnson, and Cogden. I think were up front. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it was just scary, man. Some
I
of
remember the game
the
actually played away. I think it was Woodley Sports to win the league, and the other team could have won the league as well on the same day. We went 3-0 down at half time. Absolute nightmare of a first half, and he brought Speedy on. Speedy scored a hat trick, and we won 4-3 second half to win the title. It was unbelievable
yeah,
day.
I
That
always remember that game. It was Terry. Was it Terry Brown?
yeah,
Was it because yeah, because I couldn't get to the game, and I always remember he was actually texting us the updates for the score, and he says, "Oh, the 3-0 down. There's no chance in this." And I remember him texting it was like 3-1, 3-2, 3, and I was like, "Give over,
mental.
he's winding me up."
It was absolutely mental. And then the party that we had on the bus on the way back was unbelievable. Then we ended up back in the bar in the soccer arena and stuff. It was unbelievable, really good.
No, really, really good. But like you say, you win the Northern League, Division One, and you're just going up level by level. And you just think, obviously, at that point, then at the time, obviously, the conference did use quite over when you're saying you couldn't go any higher.
Mm-hmm.
But to use getting to that point, the age ways were around that time with the squad that we had, it must have been a kind of blow for yourself then go kind of back to the Northern League because you could have been going up another division. You could have been
Yeah.
playing conference. There's no doubt about it, is there?
I think, to be fair, if you had to let us go with the pitch was actually put down to bring funding in to help the squad
Yeah.
develop over the next 2, 3, 4 years to go up and compete against the other sides. I think we would have got up out of the league and up and done really felt comfortable with the squad that we had. We adding another probably 1 or 2 bodies into it. There was no reason why we couldn't have went higher and higher. It was a shame to see obviously what happened, but I think it's happening a lot more now these days in football than it is back then, to be fair.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Just a few lads watching already. Joey, thank you very much for watching. Del Boy, good afternoon, gents. Keith, you're the second Dublin Newcastle sport. You don't support Newcastle, yeah? I think is it Sunderland?
No.
No?
I like Sunderland. I wouldn't say I support them.
Yeah. Who do you support?
No one really. I just like watching
No
football.
one?
I watch
Yeah.
any. Same. I'll go watch Newcastle. I go watch Newcastle, Sunderland. It doesn't bother me. I just like to see the North East teams doing well because it's good for the North East for all the people involved.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
a
And
better
Tony's put a
atmosphere
comment
around
there.
the city.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Oh, definitely. Just put Keith as laid back during this chat as he was playing centre midfield for Spenny at hostile away games. Love it. As well. I mean, just getting back to that 3G pitch, and I always remember, I don't know if you can yourself here. I mean, you're winning every single home game. It was always 3 or 4 goals every home game. And I don't know if you remember, you played Chorley at home, I think it was, and the Chorley chairman or something to do with the club, he was standing pitch side, making his mouth go, and it was coming down. It was like ice. And
Yeah,
because it was 3G, he said, this is never going to be called off. And I think Chorley were 3-0 up. It was a bit massive shock after 30
it was
minutes.
4-0 after half an hour, and
And it was just,
Tommy English was
yeah.
shouting at the referee to say that you can't play in this ref. It's too dangerous. I remember it.
And it was crazy. And I just remember this Charlie, and he was just turning around, clapping, going, Durham City, this is what you are. You're a shite. You're getting beat your first game of the season. You're supposed to be this. You're supposed to be that. And then the referee whistle went, and his face was a picture. It was absolutely funny because I think he's beat them 3 or 4 in the
We
air.
battered them the second
Yeah.
game when it got replayed. He got absolutely tonked. I felt sorry for him. We were 4-0 down. We were dreadful. I will never forget Tommy English saying to the ref, "This is dangerous. I've got to go to work tomorrow." That's what he was saying to the ref, and he called off.
We just mentioned going back to the football conference. Obviously, you're ruling out the club, going up the leagues as well. But I mean, you look at Durham City now, and kind of the drop down division's got a lot of youth players in, and I mean now they're playing the Wearside League and they're getting beat 10+ goals. It's horrible seeing where they are now, isn't it? Really?
It's shocking, to be fair. It's I've looked at it for the last 2, 3, 4 years. I had a friend that was looking to invest and take over the club. About 3 years ago, when Bernard
Right.
had the club. He only owned the strips and the name of the club because he hadn't got the ground, he hadn't got anything like that. They made him a
Yeah.
really good offer, and he said that he had massive plans for the club to take them up the leagues and all this. And when I look at it now, it's just disgraceful looking at it. I see the score lines of 15s and 14s still in the Wearside League. I feel sorry for the players actually that are getting dragged into play.
Yeah.
It
It's
shouldn't
shocking.
happen.
I'm from originally from Sherburn. Obviously living in Sunderland now, but I was so close to Belmont, and now you look and there's Durham this, Durham that, Durham this, Durham that. There's must be at least 25 teams now with Durham and a different thing after the name. And it's
Yeah.
just a shame. It's a massive city, and it's if you could get all of them together to create one team, you could really do something in that city, and you would start getting fans down. I know as you start going up the leagues, we've seen a few more fans come to show up when obviously Newcastle and Sunderland weren't doing as well. It was good to see, and I think that could have been taken to the next level. But now there's so many Durham teams playing a lot, like Durham Wearside, and trying to take off, and there's no chance of just getting that one Durham team and pushing on now, is there?
I don't think it'll ever happen. As long as he's got that club, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere but down. I probably think he'll end up falling halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
When we spoke to the Bernard about obviously taking over, we had permission off the lads at Durham to go back and play at New Ferns.
Right.
Previously to speaking to them, we were going to look at setting up a BTEC academy at Durham as well, and then try get a link in with the university to get it all running properly behind the scenes, so they had a bit of stability. But he just knocked us completely back.
Yeah.
He got offered a lot of money as well. It wasn't just a small amount. I think it was 2 or 3 times so what he put into the club.
Right.
at the time. But he just pied us off really.
Yeah, that's a shock. And I mean, like you say, after you leave, you sign for Spennymoor, and it was kind of a lot of familiar faces joined you, and made the same journey yourself. So it must have been quite nice getting a lot of the lads back together. But again, like you say, you're playing 2 steps up and then going 2 steps down. But I think because you had a lot of the players back together, you knew you were kind of too good for that division. It would be the same way again, and exactly the same happened to Spennymoor, didn't it? Really?
Yeah. To be fair, with Spennymoor, we had like you said, we had pretty much a lot of the lads from Durham with a few other lads mixed in. We had a really good side. But the Northern League was quite competitive, even though our team on paper looked
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. We always got pushed year in, year out. In the Northern League, it wasn't a case where you had to get to take promotion like you do now.
Yeah,
Back then, the other teams got stronger and stronger, and I think there was like 5 or 6 teams every year that were quite competitive in that division. When you look at the standard now compared to what it was back then, it's a lot less than what it is, because of the teams are getting promoted and stuff like that. But it was really, really good times at Spennymoor. We started to get good gates in. The ground got developed. I was up there, I think it was last season. I got invited up for the talking, and I hadn't been
yeah,
up in
seen
a
that.
long
Yeah,
time. The setup there now is absolutely amazing. What they've done to the ground and facilities, and the youth setup, they've just literally built it from scratch.
no, it's really good, really, really good. And like you say, at the point as well, you're winning leagues, you're winning cups, and I know it's a lot down to the squad, but hopefully getting Jason on as well. I mean, how important was Jason Ainsley to that group as well?
Jason was massive. Jason was there when he hadn't got all of us.
Yeah,
He started when he had no budget. He started getting lads in from Sunday mornings. The likes of Anthony Peacock, Ruddy, and that he dragged off the basically Sunday morning football, who ended up being fantastic players in the Northern
hmm
League. So he built it up massively, and then when Brad got involved and backed him financially, it just grew and grew and grew, and it goes to show. I think he ended up there for 21 or 22 years or something like that, involved in the football scene at Spennymoor, which is absolutely amazing. You don't see that in football anymore.
yeah. I mean, even just Tony just mentioned there in the comments. I know Spenny was being pro for a number of years now, but even going back, he says Spenny was still the best Northern team that he's seen playing, and like you say, some of the football was really fantastic as well. And you've got to get on one of the best days for the club back in 2013, FA Vars beating Tunbridge 2-1. You score the winner. I mean, to play at Wembley, but then score the win. I mean, what was the day like overall?
It was fantastic. To be fair, Brad obviously looked after us. He put us up in the hotel, the Hilton, across the road from Wembley. Brought all the families and stuff down for a couple of nights. Well, the night before and the night after.
Oh, amazing. Yeah,
So we had everything done properly. To be fair, it eluded us for a lot of years. It's the same with the FA Cup. With the squad that we had, we should have been getting there a lot more than what we did. But for one of those reasons, when it came to the FA Cup or the FA Vase, we just had one of those one-off days, and if you have a one-off day in the cup games, you're gone. So to finally actually get there, the game itself was a bit of a blur. To be fair, I think it was 2-1 in the end. But if you look back at the highlights of the game, we should have won about 8-1. And you're thinking when they
yeah,
equalised
all
later,
of them.
you're thinking, oh, we looked drained. It was baking hot that day. So to score and get us over the line, it was unbelievable. Really, really good day.
No, it was really good to see a lot of the North East fans go down as well. I know a lot of people went down. It must have been amazing with the support that you've got as well.
There was quite a good crowd. To be fair, there was a lot. To be fair, I think a lot of Northern League players go down and support the teams as well.
Hmm
Even though they might play for that team. It's quite good that the whole Northeast gets behind it. That's why they've done quite well in the Vase for the last 10, 12 years. It's always been Northern League clubs because the standard used to be that high. I think it's starting to change now because obviously the teams are getting promoted and stuff like that. But it's always good. The whole town that Spennymoor backed us, and I think that was the start of Spennymoor developing into the
Yeah,
club that they are now.
it was, wasn't it? I mean, I think you kind of brushed past there, like, but what was it like scoring at Wembley? I mean, that must have been an amazing feeling.
Oh, it was an unbelievable feeling. The best feeling I think I've had in football, and it was running over to the fans, seeing all the people that have been there on a cold Tuesday night when it's lashing rain at Spennymoor that stuck by us, and seeing their faces in the crowd, it was like absolutely amazing. Really, really good.
Oh, really good. And Tony just mentioned there, he said he's had all he remembers, Brad. Gross playing football in the Southern for Barley and Gav Cogden the handstand after scoring the final. Yeah, I remember that one. That was that was a good celebration.
Well, I've actually
But
I've just getting Gav Cogden now retirement to play for our Sunday team, and he scored. He scored, I think, 3 in 2 games so far. And he just
got,
looks like he's stronger than what he was back when he was playing.
oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. Like you say, I see some of the fitness things he puts on his Twitter and stuff, and it's fantastic.
Mental.
Like you leave Spennymoor and join Mortleth after a few years. I mean, was that a mixed emotion at the time, or was it a new challenge for yourself? Do you think?
It was a mixed emotions. I had a chat with obviously Jason at the time, and he said that I wouldn't get the game time that I had been getting previously. That he was looking to change the squad and change the team and stuff like that. So, Morpeth come in. To be honest, I didn't really know much about Morpeth or where it was or anything like that at the time. I met Nick Gray and Ken Beattie, the chairman at the time, and everything that they told me about the club was what they want to do with the club going forward is really, really good. I just thought it was something different and a new challenge to go and try something else, because I've been used to playing with the same lads for years and years
Yeah,
from 2 different teams. So it was a total different ball game altogether going up there. But it's really, really good club.
yeah. And again, like you say, I think it just shows how strong the North East, and especially the Northern League, was kind of going back about 5, 6, 7 years when they didn't have to win promotion. Where now a lot of the teams, you'll see them going up from the Northern League and they just almost walk the next league up because that's so strong. And it was the same at Morpeth, like you say, you're improving all the time, and it must be nice just helping the club from getting up as well, getting at a higher level as well.
Yeah, to be fair, Nick Gray done a fantastic job with recruiting. You got some experienced lads in. There were some really good players there that I didn't even notice. I didn't know about previously to go into the club.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start getting the team together, it just clicked, it gelled. Some really, really good lads, experienced lads. I had Sean Taylor, was with me at Sunderland as well. He was up there. He was groundsman actually at the time he worked for the club as well as
All
playing
right.
for the club.
Uh-huh.
He was a fantastic footballer. So we had a really, really good team, and then we just built on it. Getting players in after that, and just went from strength to strength really.
Yeah, and you say you go from strength to strength, and then again in 2016 return to Wembley with a bit more of an easier on a 4-1 win against Hereford on the day and being captain as well. I mean, another great memory to add to the memory bank, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think obviously Spennymoor was special, to be fair, because it's the first time there. But I think the Morpeth game meant a lot more. We went into that game as massive underdogs against Hereford, who were
Yeah,
obviously football league club a few years back. I think we were 5-1 in that in the bookies. That goes to show what we were up against. The game didn't start too well. I think we went 1-0 down after about 30 seconds, and I was thinking it's going to be a long day. This, and then we kicked into gear and started playing. We could have won by more in the end, but it was a really, really good day again. I think we bought about 5 or 6,000 down for more, but it was just quite good. But it was they had the Boat Cup finals on that day, the trophy and
yeah,
the FA Vase. I think there was about 45,000 watching our game, believe it or not. So it was an unbelievable atmosphere to play in, but really good.
really, really good. And like you say, after Morpeth, you then go back to the Northern League, and the next question that we kind of look at as well, you look at kind of when you're first playing around the Spenny, the Durham City era, and then come back to the Northern League after it. Would you say because of the, like you say, the teams aren't getting promoted, the Northern League kind of looking at now is a little bit weaker than what it is compared to back in the days? Would you say?
Yeah, I've played in the Northern League the last couple of years, Division Twos and stuff like that. It's the standard is nowhere near what it used to be, because obviously all the better players are going up, they're contracted,
Yeah,
um, to get up out of the leagues. So it is weaker. You probably have 4 or 5 teams that again are looking to push in, like the Ashingtons this year and West
yeah,
Auckland,
usually,
that want Bishop Aucklands that want to get out of the league and need to get out of the league. But I think after that, it's sort of anybody can go and beat anybody really, where it probably wouldn't happen back in the day. It's a lot of younger lads coming through now, and it's quite totally different, to be honest, than when we played.
yeah. And the Tony's mentioned there, I totally agree about the stand. I know I've watched a couple of games this season. It's a lot of the younger players coming through, and And I can see something like rolling about and getting little touches and falling down. I'm just thinking if you
Yeah.
played like 10, 15 years ago against some of the centre backs, the centre midfielders back then, they wouldn't have played again.
Well, funny enough, I played. I think one of the first games I remember in the Northern League was playing for Dunstan, and we played Durham City. Gaz Pearson was playing centre mid for Durham City, and before I didn't really know Gaz at the time. Before it was
Yeah.
lashing rain on Tuesday night, he says, "You're not going to touch this ball today." To me, I was only a kid at the time, and I started laughing. Got me first touch and turned, and Gaz absolutely nailed me. I flew up in the air, literally planted my face into the muck, and he's rubbing my head into the muck, saying, "Welcome to the North League." That's what it was like back then, but it was good. It just toughened you up, but it was really good competitive football.
No, some great stories. Like you say, we had Andrew Bulford on a few weeks ago, and we got talking about Gary Pearson as well. And I always remember it was one of my first games. I was only about 15, 16. We were playing for Lambton against Hetton Lions at the time. And he was playing, and yeah, I always remember the ball come through, and I thought I might be able to do him here. So I let the ball go through my legs, and the ball went through his legs, and I turned, and I thought I'm away here. And I just remember this clatter in the back of my foot, and I just went flying. I was like Superman, and he just went past tapping. And he went, "You want to do that again, son?" I was like, "Yeah, I won't." But that's what
what it was
football
like.
was, though, wasn't it?
Aye. You can't do it now. It's a shame. It's like you don't see the tackles and stuff like that. I don't mean like bad tackles, but you're like 50-50s and all. It's all getting pulled away from football now. It's a bit different.
Oh, it's crazy. But I mean, yeah, also obviously just around the corner from myself, now Southern Western. I know my son's just literally signed up for the under sevens a couple of weeks ago. He's really excited to play down there. But it's just been around the corner. It's a nice little club to go and watch. And you kind of took over as manager at some point last year as well. I mean, did you enjoy the manager role?
I did at the start. It's very, very tough. Obviously, we had a small budget finances wise against some of the
Yeah,
league budgets. But we started off with a good side. We were flying at the start of the season, coming towards
massively.
Christmas time. Lost a couple of lads with injuries, or a couple of teams come from a higher level and took a couple of lads. Armstrong went to Pickering and Tom Jones went to Pickering as well at the same time, and that was two of our back four experienced lads, which sort of killed us at the time. But football's massively changed now. You're getting text messages at 5 o'clock saying I won't make the game tonight, and or I'm at a festival this weekend, or where back in the day that never happened. So yeah, you could
Yeah.
have a great team at lunchtime, and then it comes to the evening time, and yeah, it's completely different. I don't think the young lads coming through now have the hunger and desire that used to be in the Northern League, and that's why the standard's nowhere near as good as what it was.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I've kind of run a team for about the last 16 years, and I just packed it in last year. And the last couple of seasons, like you said, the young lads coming through 18, 19, they just didn't want to turn up and know. Just like you say, text messages and people just want to go away for lasses for you put them to one side to play football
Yeah,
back in the day. You were like that was you worked all week to play on a Sunday or a Saturday, and that was your life, wasn't it? And you go back to the pub for one pint, you end up being there at 9 o'clock at night. So you're coming steaming, and it's totally changed. And I
that's
think that's what
it's
lost. That's why I packed
exactly.
in.
There's loads of teams folding and all for the same reason, and the Sunday teams and stuff like that. They want to go out, or they want to go and do or whatever they want to do. I think COVID had a massive impact on it when everybody was sort
Yeah,
of locked up for the time. So I think a lot of people now are making up for the time that they've missed out on, which you can't blame people like that. But I think football is going to have a massive effect on it.
it does. And obviously, a couple of weeks ago, just leaving Sunderland West End and joining Seaton. Are you enjoying it there? I know you only played a couple of games, but
So
enjoying that as well.
I had a canny debut when I got sent off out of 30 minutes. Given the line of some stick in the Irish language, which didn't go down well. There's a lot of young lads again. It's just trying to get some experience lads in and help them out and just see how we
Yeah,
can up the league. We played Saturday, we won 4-0 up on Saturday before it got abandoned, which we spoke about earlier on. So hopefully things will turn around. Obviously, we've got Blue Star this week, which I'm banned for. So see, it's Blue Star is a free hit really. I expect Blue Star to win that league between them and New Fordley, two of the best teams in the division with healthy budgets and big players and teams. So I think them two will be up there to win, and then it's just a case of anywhere else after that, really.
yeah. I mean, like you say, I remember I was on Wednesday night or Tuesday night. I'm always working until about 8:30, so I'm always like having a little flick through, and I seen the Twitter the seating one. But it was just saying a red card, Russia. And then it was funny because obviously your friends are commenting on and saying, because he kind of put on to say, we don't know what's happened, there's been a red card. And it was obviously these comments, he knows what he's done, he's knows what he's done. It was just good banter.
I couldn't repeat it on here, but the lads will probably have a field day batting me here later on. They said today they're going to bat me at football this morning. There's a few of them text me as we speak. But it's all good crack.
Oh, really good. I mean, just before we get end on the quick fire, a few comments coming in again. Tony just mentioned we paid to watch a Spenny over 40s team now. I know I was kind of looking back at because I'm like 33 now, and I packed in a couple of seasons ago because I ruptured my Achilles. My legs just never been the same since. And I always thought, God, if I get to 40 and play the standard, it would be unbelievable the amount of players that were kind of playing around the same time as myself. I wouldn't stand a chance. The players that's in there. And again, he's great about the commitment. There's not many teams playing silly money and taking players. Niall, even guys got for Newcastle, great game of days neutral. Was hoping to see in the game out of being 3-1 down. Yeah, I can't wait for the review show during the week. Lots to talk about on that one. I've been talking to Rasha before. Coming in, great game. Ben saying, love that Rasha. I think I was speaking about the red card there. A great question from Tony before we get on our quick fire questions. Asking who was your favourite midfield partner and why?
I think Tony knows the answer. That's why he's asking the question. Louis Dodds. Obviously, I played with Louis at Durham and Spennymoor, but
yeah,
the two of us just clicked. He done the harder side of the game, so it allowed me to get on the ball a lot. But you don't realise how good of a footballer Lewis was until he wasn't playing next year. He didn't get much credit for what he done in the game, but his ability to do what he done was fantastic. To be fair, he had a really good Northern League career as well. Won quite a lot, and now he's into management now at West Auckland and seems to be doing all right.
Yeah, I mean, just like you say, you mentioned Lewis Dodds, and I was speaking to Stephen, who obviously had to go to work night, and I was speaking about yourself and Dodds at Durham, and I always remember Dodds like the little bulldog. You used to go around nipping people's ankles, getting the ball to yourself, and it was a lovely 30, 25-yard pass into our strikers. It was goal. I playing that with Tommy English. It was amazing. Just to have them two type of players next to each other, it always seems to work in the centre midfield, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. To be fair, I think Louis retired a bit early because of doing all my running. I think over all the years, it's caught up on him. But you don't see the combinations much anymore. A lot of teams play different formations, and the 4-3-3s and now kick it into the game and stuff like that. Where we used to play 4-4-2, Spennymoor and at Durham because of the players that we had. But Lewis done a lot of the work for the players that we had around us, the likes of Tommy English, Anthony Peacock and stuff like that. So it allowed us to get on with our games, and it was really, really good for us.
I know when I was thinking about that Durham team, and it was kind of picking out players of who was in certain positions. It was always the right side of midfield. I know we always kind of struggled down that side. I mean, I know Calvin Smith played a couple of games out there. He used to play at college the same time as myself, and he was always saying, "I just want to play in the centre midfield." But I kind of get interested. We had to kind of play out wide, and a couple of other players came
Calvin
in there.
was quite young when he was at Durham. At the time, he used to come on and score some unbelievable strikes. We ended up getting Steve Harrison in. He was at Newcastle. Well, he's at Sunderland actually. He coaches at Newcastle, I think now. And then we ended up getting Tofty. John Tofty come in. He started to play on the right, and then he kept getting injured. So it was the right wing that was more the problem. We had Stewie Morris, which is like a bull.
That was it. Yeah,
he was quite good, but he kept getting injured on the right side. Capo would always say that they didn't move the ball quick enough, so that's why they were getting kicked. Because him and Tommy used to just play in 1 and 2 touch. But it was a good group, really good group, and good lads.
Yeah, I remember Calvin at college, and he says some of the stuff he used to do was magic. There could be a ball bag 40, 50 yards away, and he used to ping it into the ball bag. He was magic on the ball, like sometimes. Really good player.
He's doing well now up at concert, Calvin. He's flying.
Yeah.
Some of the goals
really
he scored is unbelievable. His physique is scary for the size of him.
Definitely, really good player. And just going to finish on some quick fire questions. These have been really interesting over the last few weeks. We've had players on. I know we changed it slightly for Tom Wade last week. And I mean, just before we get into quick fire questions, one of the ones that we asked Tom last week was, who was I know he played a little bit under him at Blythe, but who was the player that always kind of got away, who we wanted to sign as his managerial career went on, and who he just couldn't get? And straight away he said it was yourself. He just wanted to get you back into his squad. And he tried a few times, but he just couldn't get nowhere next year. He tried many times, he said, though.
I spoke to him a lot. To be honest, it was one of the early teams that I played for. Was him and Bakes was manager at Blythe. This was a long time ago. We went up, but they always had a decent side, but you just didn't think that they were going to get out of the division. There was always just something lacking in the squad. But it was always good players, good lads. It was a decent setup up there. We had good crowds when we were playing well. Don't get me wrong, when we weren't playing well, they let you know about it up at Blythe. But it was a really good setup, to be fair.
Good. So yeah, quick fire questions. Really love this bit. Number one, best manager that you've worked for and why?
Whoa.
Very tough.
I'd probably say Jason Ainsley. To be fair, he's just one of those people that he didn't say much in the dressing room. He just gave you the opportunity to go out and express yourself. If you made mistakes, he just tell you just keep doing what you're doing. I think that was the first time in football that you sort of got that freedom just to go and do what you wanted to do. You knew obviously where you needed to be playing and what not to be doing, but it sort of then opened up. Then after that, Nick Gray was a similar manager. After Jason, that was the same. Go play, express yourselves, and then results will follow. But it was Jason was massive in that. He didn't cane you, he didn't batter you at half times and stuff like that. When things weren't going right, he sort of got your arm around you and bigged you up and made you feel $1 million. And I think that goes to show what he's done in football and what we end up winning with him.
Yeah, definitely. You see some managers now, like you see that, like the podcast and stuff like that. When the managers come on, they'll show like the documentaries on Sky and just do them. And you always see the managers come in like ranting and raving all the time. And after a while, it's just a noise, isn't it? That you just forget. Yeah.
With people like that, don't get wrong. There's times where you need it in a dressing room. But half of the time, if a manager does it 90% of the time or 100% of the time, you just switch off and you don't pay any attention. To be honest, because he's not giving any feedback or any positives out of what he's saying. He's just berating people. And I think especially nowadays, you'll just switch off. Nobody will listen to it.
Yeah, definitely. Number two is best opposition player that you've played against and why?
I used to, we had Sean Bell, centre midfielder from Benfield. I used to hate playing against him. He used to kick me all over. He had an engine on him like no other. He was unbelievable, box to box. Eventually, I ended up getting Lee Collins to sign him at Durham to stop him kicking us. So that goes to show what he was like as a competitive midfielder. Don't get wrong, there's a lot of fantastic players I played against, but in our position, he was tough. He was hard to play against. He was a nightmare, to be honest, and that's why we ended up signing him at Durham.
Yeah, talking about kicking out, I was laughing my head off a couple of weeks ago when I was down watching yourself versus Blythe Town. And obviously, Gav Fell, the assistant manager or kind of manager there, and a couple of times you got kicked and went down. And obviously, I don't know if a few people know that you're kind of together at certain clubs and stuff, but you just hear Gav saying, he's faking at ref, he's over there. And you see a few people laughing, but a few people like taking it so serious. It was funny watching it though.
Yeah, that's
really good.
Probably that a lot of people don't know stuff like that. But obviously, I've known Gav for years. We were talking before the game, before it even kicked off, and I was chatting after the game. We're just having a laugh and joke.
Oh, it was so funny. I know you kind of answered this earlier. I know we mentioned that was your best midfielder partner, but the next question is your best teammate that you've played for with and why?
I'd probably say Stephen Capper. Obviously, I played against him for Home Farm and he played for Belvedere growing up as kids. Then the two of us played with each other for district, for our country, then for Sunderland, and we've sort of played with most teams together. Still speak most days, even though he's moved back to Dublin. But he ended up starting football as a centre midfielder, and Brian Kerr put him left back for the Republic of Ireland in one of the games, and he was fantastic. And I think he's probably one of the best left backs in the non-league Northeast over the last 10, 12 years, to be honest.
Yeah, massively. I think I was kind of thinking that the other night there's some of the players that you played with as well and yourself, and you kind of look now, obviously, with the teams having to go up promotion and take the next step, they're going to be more scouts kind of watching and go to the next level. And I think because around the Northeast, you kind of had, at that time, Darlington, Hartlepool, and that was kind of it, where down south, a lot of players do well, Northern League, or non-league, sorry, they'll get promoted to the next level, where around here, there's only one or two teams where they probably don't want to take a risk bringing in a lower league player, where I think there was good enough players that could play that level. Do you agree that there was some top players at that time?
100%. There was not just at our team. There was loads of players in the Northern League that could have played higher.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. If you go to Manchester, you've got to pick up about 10, 15 clubs above you in the leagues above. But as like you said, you had at the time, you had your Darlingtons, your Hartlepool, Gateshead to an extent a little bit, but I think they never used that opportunity
Definitely
to
not.
run their players. I think there was one or two players might have got through, but there was a lot more players if given a chance that I think would have excelled and would have went on to do better things. But you have the same problem then is, do you go and take a gamble and sign a contract with a team for it wouldn't massive life-changing money for a 2-year contract if you have a decent job and you're getting good money playing football? Would you stay playing your football and working, or would you take a gamble for the 2 year? It's a tough
I
one.
can imagine it's hard at the time. I can imagine, definitely. Number 4, your best footballer moment and why?
I think obviously scoring at Wembley. I think it was to be honest, I've known Brad Groves, the owner of Spennymoor, before I signed with Spennymoor through headlines and stuff like that. He's a really, really good friend. But he put a lot of hard work and a lot of work in behind the scenes of building Spennymoor up. So to see his face on the day to actually get the vase that we've chased for so many years and failed quite massively, to be honest, year in, year out, until that year that we just sort of knew it was going to be that season that was going to be our year. But looking up and seeing his face and speaking to him after it in the bar and stuff like that was amazing.
Yeah, it really means a lot of people like that. It's really, really good. And just finally, just a question to end on. How many years do you think you've still got left in you playing?
This is definitely my last. Definitely, I think the 4Gs and that are kicking in now. It takes you about 2 or 3 days to recover. So at least in the alliance, there's no midweekers after this week, so it's not as bad.
Right. Oh, it's good then, isn't it? And you think you will kind of get back into management after that, or do you think that one's
Yeah.
fully had enough for that?
To be fair, I went for the Newcastle Benfield job last
Right.
season. Got down to the last two with Thomas Butler that was with us at Sunderland. Me and him applied for the job. Got down to the last two, like I said, and we spoke with Benfield. He gave us good feedback, saying that they were impressed with our interviews and stuff like that. But at the time that they were just going to go with the other manager that we took on. So yeah, looking to get a job, but it's finding the right job and the right ambitions at the club. That there's no point in taking, like we took on the West End job, which I wouldn't say it was a mistake because you want to give it a go in management. But at the time with where they want to go and what they want to do, it's going to take them a good few years to do what they want to do. So it's finding the right job now that comes available that matches the ambition that we have in football, really.
Yeah, I can imagine now, obviously, because you've got to take promotion, it must be scary for some teams who wouldn't have that money for the next step, where if they have a good half of the season, they must think, oh, hold on, this could we could actually go up here. We cannot afford this. We must like start losing a few games. It's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it?
Definitely. I think, to be honest, I think Arsenal was going to run away with the Northern League. The players that they brought in this year, they're getting massive gates at home as well. Financially, will help them. Massive club, really good setup. But I think they have everything in place to get up into the next division. Then you have the likes of Bishop Auckland and West Auckland, massive clubs again that they'll compete against them. But I think Arsenal will just have a little bit too much for them.
Yeah, should be a good league. Interesting to see how it goes, that one, definitely. But no, Rash, honestly, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Some of the people that we've got coming on, some like you say, probably know most of them playing over years with them. But it's really nice to showcase, isn't it, the North East football?
Yeah, it's massive. You don't realise how big the non-league scene is in the North East, and that's credit to the Northern League. It's like I said to you earlier on, the FA VAR is getting 10 or 12 teams in there in the last 15 years or something like that. Just it says it all, because a lot of the better players down south play at a higher level, like you touched on earlier on, for higher level teams, where up in the North East you haven't really got that opportunity. You have a little bit now with the likes of Gateshead and that all progressing. But it's like you said, I think in the next probably year or two, I think there's going to probably only be one Northern League rather than Division 2 and Division 1, with the teams that are going to end up getting promoted. And I think it'll be a lot weakened to be like the Alliance League compared to the Northern League, I think, eventually.
No, definitely. Tony's just mentioned there, great show. Rasha, thank you very much as well. As I say, lots coming up. over the next couple of weeks as well. I know we've got our review preview show. Lots going on this week as well. With the obviously looking back at the Man City game, we've got Tranmere Wednesday night. Looking at the Wolves game on next Sunday. So much coming up, and we've also got Stephen Turnbull coming on next Sunday as well. I know Wade's been writing him up on Facebook saying he's going to talk about his goal against Hartlepool for the full show. So that should be an interesting watch, that one.
He never mentions that, to be honest, Tony.
Well, no, Rasha, and everyone watching as well. Everyone, thank you so much. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. It really does mean a lot. We want to showcase this North East as much as we can. And we're going to do as many as we can over the next kind of few months in it next year as well. But thank you everyone so much for watching, Rasha. Thank you so much for coming on as well.
No problem. Really enjoyed it, pal.
Take care. Thank you.